Hey everyone, it's Dan again with another quick video on gardening. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about intercropping. And all intercropping is growing one or more crops essentially in the same space or close to each other. And the purpose of that is to save space, and this is done both in large farms and in smaller gardens as well. And I think it's a very useful technique in small gardens such as this one, which is only about 4 feet long, and the raised beds that we use at SUS. What it allows you to do is to grow two crops close to each other for space-saving reasons, two crops that don't interfere with each other, and usually two crops that mature at different times. That's a pretty important part of it. So what we're looking at here is radish, and radish is they're a crop that matures quickly. I've had some slug trouble with these, which is the white stuff I put on there is to help deter the slugs. But they're nearing their maturity. They're going to be ready to harvest soon. And so I'm going to plant some carrots in there with them in between the rows of radishes. And carrots are pretty good for intercropping because they tend to have a long maturity. So radishes, maybe you can harvest them within, let's say a month or two, depending on the variety. Whereas carrots typically have a relatively longer maturity rate. The ones I'm using today are typically ready for harvest in 75 days. So that would be today's early June. So we'd be looking at somewhere in like late August, roughly, maybe even early September. So by then the radishes will be gone, and the carrots will be growing in their place. And in so doing, we've kind of maximized the yield we can get out of a relatively small space. So what I did was I just, I dug the soil a little bit between the rows, and I got it nice and good tilled on it, because carrots want like a well-draining soil since they are a root vegetable. And I'm using a little seed dispenser because carrot seeds are very small, and I'm just going to kind of sprinkle some seeds in between those rows. Very simple, and you can do this by hand. And then I'm just going to cover them very lightly, only a 1/4 inch, not more than a 1/4 inch for carrots. And there you go. So once these germinate, I'm going to thin them, because with root vegetables that's really important. You don't want a lot of interference with the roots. So I'm going to thin them down to like one every few inches. And that's intercropping. You want to make sure to consult your seed packets on maturity dates, and make sure that you're planting plants that don't kind of conflict with each other in terms of their chemical properties or the nature of the plant itself. But generally speaking, carrots and radishes it's a common combination for intercropping, and I encourage you to give it a shot, and don't be afraid to experiment, to take some risks. And stay safe out there, keep gardening, and I'll talk to you again soon.